The preseason is over, thank God, but yet the Saints remain with big-time questions. Of course, the one everybody's talking about is Rattler or Shough, Shough or Rattler, potato or potato. Kellen Moore says the decision is going to be made soon, like maybe even as early today. Wouldn't it be cool to have breaking news of such magnitude here on the show? Gabe's going to be watching out for that. What about other questions? Well, we'll have you answer all those questions on Mono Monday because only your opinion matters, really. Gabe is here to talk college football as LSU and Tulane are both opening the season with huge games that very well could determine the trajectory of their seasons. Meanwhile, I have no idea what the trajectory is for the Dattitude podcast. Oh, looky. It says, press this button to find out. Well, here we go.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where are you at, Dattitude family? Are you tired of this fake football crap? I am. Let's get it rolling. The in-season routine starts now, and it starts on Dattitude, episode number 407, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, August the 25th, 2025. If you are new here, first, what took you so long? We've been waiting for you. Second, I am your host, Jim Derry. 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene. I thank you for being a part of the Dat Family. You know what today is? Today is Monday. It means it is Mono Monday. It means we're going to talk. It's going to be me. It's going to be you. It's going to be Gabe. It's going to be you talking to me talking to you. You can be a part of it. All you got to do is type your comments into the stream, whatever stream you are watching on, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. That is what it's different about this show. We allow you to speak. We don't just talk to you and whatever you. No, your thoughts matter, even if you don't agree with the host. I mean, if you don't agree with me, what did I say the other day, Gabe? What was it? You got a 92% chance of being wrong if you don't agree with me. Whatever. It's a free country, pal. But we will show you your comments, and absolutely will be fun. We'll have fun with it. We'll be respectful. That's what we do here in this show. If you're listening after the fact or watching after the fact or, whatever, you can find me when it's not live. And if you just want to listen and you don't want to see my ugly mug, well, I understand that. You can find me on any major podcast platform. Get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. or via email, jderry@theadvocate.com. And if you haven't done so yet, I've asked you this before. I'm asking again so politely as I possibly can. I said politely like a lot already. We're only 4 minutes into the show, but politely ask you to subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. That's where the Dat Family lives. Breaking news this morning. The Saints have begun their cuts. That's the first bit of breaking news. I almost shed a tear when I found out James Burnip was cut. Who? Yeah, the punter, James Burnip. Wasn't he the one from Alabama? I don't know. But now the punter for the New Orleans Saints, at least as of right now, is Kai Kroger, who went to South Carolina. Welcome, Kai, to the New Orleans Saints. Okay. The Saints have begun their cuts this morning, and sort of sadly, although we could see it coming for at least a week, maybe a little bit longer, we certainly could see it in that final preseason game. Cam Akers is gone. And remember how I told you a few weeks ago, I really was rooting for him, but you could see that he wasn't going to make this team. It was clear that, I guess theoretically he could still be cut too, but I would be shocked if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is cut now. It's pretty clear that he is going to be running back 3. We'll see what happens with Devin Neal, whether he makes the team or gets put on the practice squad. That is yet to be seen. They're going to have to be creative with the roster. What about Velus Jones? Does he make the team? Does he make it as a running back? Does he make it a receiver? Does he make it as both? So lots of questions to be asked. We'll be talking about those things later today. Tight end Seth Green was cut this morning. So, Gabe, there is a, if you could just kind of keep an eye on Saints cuts for me. If we go along and you see any others, feel free to put them in there. Also breaking this morning that doesn't have to do with the Saints. Breaking news. No, not that. We don't know who the quarterback is yet. Who knows? It could happen while we're on. I doubt it. It's probably going to happen this afternoon or tomorrow. We'll find out who QB1 is. So today we have plenty of guessing to do. But across the NFL, the big news this morning is the Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin have reached a deal on extension to show you how different it is for running backs than it is for wide receivers. And remember when running backs were the big deal? If you didn't have and I still think this, by the way, I know I'm old school. There are things that I will probably never change on my opinion on, and that's going for it on fourth down from the opponent's 47, 4th and 5. I still think that's stupid. I know I'm old. Get off my lawn, whatever. But here's another thing. I still think that running backs are way more important than wide receivers. You're not going to get me. If you could have like 5 average or better than average wide receivers and still be good if you have a Derrick Henry. Okay, look at the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens don't have any fantastic super wide receiver. They just don't. You could say whatever you want. Pick a plethora of the whoever. Zay Flowers. Okay, whatever. Don't they have D-Hop now? Whatever. Who cares? He's like 54 years old. Whatever. They got Derrick Henry, though, and they got Lamar Jackson. That's way more. What is the deal with these extensions, these wide receiver contracts? They're absurd. I love Terry McLaurin. I think he's great. Don't get me wrong. But 3 years, $96 million. Even with my Shaw math, I can quickly divide that and tell you that is $32 million a year. That is absurd. Again, I love Terry McLaurin. And that's the going rate. I'm not blaming Terry McLaurin. How did we get here? I don't know. But whatever. Enjoy that, Washington Commanders. I think they're going to regress. If you don't know that, you didn't watch my short. Anyway, maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe we won't. We got other important things to do this morning. We got to get into the comments before I get into Derry's dime this morning, because I have you can only guess what my dime is really on. Of course, my dime is on the quarterbacks, but we are going to be talking more about the quarterbacks, more than just the quarterbacks this morning. And we are going to be talking about LSU and Tulane, and even more so on Wednesday. I have no idea who my guest is yet for Wednesday, but Wednesday's going to be kind of an overall. We may talk more about LSU and Tulane than we do about the Saints. I mean, we're going to have to talk about who the quarterback is. We'll probably know by then. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. Rocky, good morning. Win or lose, who cares? I read your comment on Facebook this morning, by the way. Play better, be better. We ain't talking. We ain't tanking. Nobody's going to tank. The amount of clowns saying this pisses me off. At least we have a team in New Orleans that could be worse. Look, you know what I think about the tank and clowns. If you're somebody who wants to tank, you as much as I say, please comment here. If you say we want to tank, I'm probably going to rip you, because tanking is the dumbest thing on planet Earth. Losing, there's nothing more dumb, okay, besides, I don't know. You could probably think of a few more things, but nothing immediately comes to mind more dumb in the sports world than losing on purpose. It serves zero purpose. But we get a better draft pick. Yeah, and you got to assume that who you want is going to be there, A, and B, that that your team is actually going to make the right pick. Don't get me started on that. Though you kind of did. Gary, good morning. Awaiting more trades, player cuts. Who will start the first game at quarterback? Yes, we are. Going to get into that. Charles Mangus, if my thing wants to work. Good morning. Manic Monday. Tampa Bay cut Shiloh Sanders. That's not a surprise at all. That's not even news. Catcher from Seattle is a major league record for the most home runs by a catcher. Kyle Raleigh, congratulations. We're not going to talk a whole lot of baseball show today. Phil Mariande, good morning. It will be Shough, or the first 4 games will all be losses. I hate to tell you this, Phil, but whether it's Rattler or Shough, the first 4 games might be losses. Strong possibility. The odds makers say they think, look, you see this line that's on the screen and it's so cool to be able to have a regular season line on my screen. But you see that line on the screen, which has jumped up all the way to 6 now. The Cardinals are a 6-point favorite in the Superdome on opening day with the Saints with a new coach. That's crazy. I looked this up the other day and I forgot the answer. The last time the Saints were a 6-point dog or more at home on opening day, I know this. The first time and I don't know I think they were on the road. Well, they had to be on the road because they couldn't blame the dome. I could tell you, actually, I do remember now. 2005, the Saints were at Carolina. I believe it was at Carolina, not at a neutral site. At Carolina, they were a 6-point dog and actually won the football game before they finished 3-13 that year. So 20 years. It's been 20 years since I don't remember the last time the Saints opened the season at home and were as big as a 6-point underdog. I will have the answer for that for you on Wednesday, I promise. But they are a 6-point dog, and that is the least of the 4. The other 3 games, they are larger than 6-point underdogs. So again, Phil, I hear you. No offense, but it might not matter who starts. I think there's a very good. I said 50% before. I think it might be higher than. Gabe did the thing the other day. He did a parlay on betting against the Saints money line on the first 4 games in a parlay and what the implied odds are. The implied odds from the odds makers are about, I think it was like 36%, somewhere around there, that the Saints would lose their first 4 games. I think it's higher than that. Okay. Sure, they could pull one out. Which one are they going to pull out? We'll talk about that later. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Charles, you can't wait for Derry Dimes. It's coming up in just a minute. Kyle Sherman, good morning. Should be an interesting show today. Devin Neal to RB3. I don't think so. Definitely not. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is RB3. I still think Devin Neal is going to be on the practice squad. No one's going to pick him up. I mean, they might put him. They might not put him on a practice. We'll see. Kyle also predicts that the Rat is QB1 and Simpkins is on the 53 starting by game 5. Oh Lord. No offense, but if Torricelli Simpkins is starting by week 5, we got major, and I say the Saints have major offensive line problems. They might have major offensive line problems anyway, but no offense to Torricelli Simpkins. I think he's great. I love the dude. What he did in preseason, I do think it earned him a spot on the 53. I think kind of have to. However, if he's starting by game 5, that means you're in a deep hole on the offensive line. I'm already down in the offensive line for where I was just a couple weeks ago. Chad Gage, hello to all. Rat starts. We definitely go on 4. Not that Shough would change that, but he is more of an unknown to prepare for. Where you Sanders, Shedeur? You see, you're jumping ahead of me. He worked any of 3 of our quarterbacks. Yes. But in the first game, he looked better than any of the 3. So, but you're jumping ahead of me. That's actually part of my dime. Brian S. Steve, good morning, Who Dat Nation. Good morning. UBN is here. Back where he belongs. He was in Detroit doing some golf. I wish I was in Detroit doing a show from Detroit where it's like 50 degrees. Oh, although it's supposed to get a little cool, like not cooler, less humidity, which means cooler. I'll take it. Daryl Hayden, good morning. Black Preacher Man, hello. Salute. Who dat? Gabe wants to know, does anyone still believe in Cam Akers? No, I don't think anyone was believing in Gabe. You're going too far. I said I was just rooting for Cam Akers. Does it really matter, though? I mean, I will say this. I'm going to give Kendra Miller a shout out because he is actually, his stats don't show it, but I'm actually kind of impressed by what Kendra Miller looked like in the preseason. And I feel, I mean, he's not the best RB2 on the planet. He's probably a below mid-range RB2, right on the cusp, but that's better than I thought he was going to be so far. So I'm actually, hopeful. Dylan Smith, good morning. Sean Payton, one of them can't stand when he's not your coach. I kind of hear you. I don't kind of hear you. I do hear you. All right, Jeremiah Martin, defensive end, has been cut. Tight end Michael Jacobson has been cut. Gabe's favorite name in the NFL, Moochie Dixon, wide receiver, has been cut. Offensive lineman Kyle Hergel has been cut. By the way, NOLA.com/Saints. You can keep up to date with all the cuts. Luke Johnson is keeping up with it. They have begun the process of trimming their roster to 53. We have it on NOLA.com. You can check us out. Again, NOLA.com/Saints. Doing it live, going live. We'll keep updating that page and seeing what's going on. Preacher Man Foskey has not been cut yet, but it will happen. I gotta be on. That's another one. I'll be very surprised if Isaiah Foskey makes this team. Patrice, good evening from France. France. Viva la France. Bon matin, Patrice. It's still morning here in New Orleans. Charles wants to know, do I think Moore is regretting taking the job? Absolutely not. There's only 32 of these. Seriously? Absolutely. You think he was just going to come in here and start winning? Come on, man. Come on. I love you for being a part of the Dat family, but you got to, that's crazy. Brian says, while I expect this to be a long season, I'm excited about the Saints' future. Okay, yeah. No reason not to be. I think we have the right coach in place, and I'm hopeful the rebuild will be less than 2 years. Maybe. We'll see. Get into that. Adam Varner, good morning. You think Tyler edged out Rattler performance-wise, but I think Rattler gets a nod due to tenure. I'm going to say this again before I get into the dime. Anybody who thinks that either one of these quarterbacks was better than the other, you weren't watching. You literally could throw them into a hat. They were what and what. So I have my answer for that. Adam also says he thinks the defense will be relatively solid. They're going to have to be. Cecil Evans, good morning. The Rat will get the first 4 games, and the Shough will get a 13-game rookie season to prove himself or be a backup to a 2026 number 1 pick. Very possible. Corey Terrio, not breaking news. Shiloh Sanders, it's not breaking news. I mean, I don't think anyone realistically expects Shiloh Sanders to make the football team. His little fight didn't help him. But why are people happy about this kind of stuff? There are actually people that are happy that Shiloh, why would you be happy? You have other issues in life. If you were actually, I'm not going to get into, I'm not going to climb into the weeds today. Just like I say, whenever this decision is made on Shough or Rattler, that kind of, you're getting into my dime. I got a ton of comments still to get to this morning. It is Mono Monday, so it's more about you than it is me. And I'm not trying to piss anybody off, so I don't want to get into the weeds. But when the decision is made, Rattler or Shough, it's not a reason to get. If your guy lost, you shouldn't be pissed. And if your guy won, why are you going to be like? Are you going to like jump for joy if Spencer Rattler wins the job? Why? Are you going to jump for joy if Tyler Shough wins the job? Why? It stuff like that bothers me. It really does. It shouldn't bother me, but it does. I mean, let me see. You think any Buccaneers fans are thrilled that Moochie Dixon got cut? No. They don't give a rat's ass that Moochie Dixon got cut. Neither do most Saints fans. So why do you care that Shiloh Sanders got cut? Makes no sense. And that's my rant of the day. I don't know. I'll probably have another one. Who knows? David +1#. How impressive is this new and faster virtual measurement system? Cramming a 2-minute process into a 10. I know you're exaggerating, but I don't get it. The UFL and the USFL before that and the XFL at the same time before that, they do the virtual measurement in like 15 seconds. It should take, we live in 2025, okay? It makes no sense that this quote unquote virtual measurement should take longer than 10 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. The referee puts his hand on the ball, the computer measures it, and bam, it's on the screen. What is taking so long? Okay. You know me. I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. And it would make no sense to make this a conspiracy. But the longer you make things take, the longer you wonder why they take that long. It almost makes me wonder, like the NFL begrudgingly is doing this, by the way. They don't want to do this virtual measurement. They don't want you to hear what's going. You know how in the UFL, do you ever watch a UFL game? You should, because the way they do things are kind of cool. When you hear the officials talking about instant replay and you can hear them, it's completely transparent. The NFL doesn't want to be transparent. This is just one small little snippet. They want to be able to get rid of this. They want to say, we tried it and it didn't work. I promise you that's what's happening here. They want to say we tried it and it didn't work and they want to get rid of it. Why do they want to get rid of it? I have no idea, because it's super easy to do. And you don't. Christopher Fava, exactly. No team play. You play to win the game. David Duca, good morning. It's Who Dat Monday. You ready? What's up, Derek Branch? Margaret LeBlanc Harmon, born and raised in NOLA, will always support the Saints, as well you should. 100%. Lewis Jacobson, Who Dat? Shough. Who Dat number 6 thinks the coach is going to go with his man. You want him to. Okay. I kind of want him to, but I'm not going to be upset if it's not, by the way. Barry Ulay, good morning. Looks like Rattler wins by default. Getting to the dime. But y'all are more important than the dime, so I want to show these things. Who Dat Daddy? Las Vegas is wrong. Trust him. Who Dat Daddy's been saying 10 wins. You're going to get a lot of pub on this show. Saints win 10 games. You're going to get Gabe saying 0.0, but he's going to have to buy you a Saints jersey. I don't know. Sean, do I think Foskey gets cut today or tomorrow? I think everybody's going to get cut today. I think all the cuts are going to be done today. Rocky says he thinks we win against the Cardinals next 3. I don't know. Here we go. Mark Satanovich, he's already proclaiming the Rat did it. The pundits are leaking. No one is leaking anything. Okay. Whatever you read from whoever, bullshit. Okay. No one has leaked the damn thing. Sorry. No one. Although Gabe is feverishly typing. Maybe he saw something. Let's see. Earl's picks. You think Shough will be the better quarterback, but it might not be a bad idea to start the Rat for a few. Chad Gage loves when Gabe throws little tidbits out there. Gabe Henderson says, here you go, Mark Satanovich. I don't usually quote Nick Underhill on the show, but most of you seem to love him so much. So 6 minutes ago on X, Nick Underhill said, quote, the Saints have, capital letters, not picked a starter for week 1. Well, they have, but they just haven't told anybody. Anyone who thinks that they haven't picked one, if you really, really believe that this was a race, sorry, I don't care who gets picked. It was never a race. Whoever gets picked, this person was going to be picked 4 weeks ago. Get into that later. I've said this multiple times. Let's see what else we got here. Jason Benson. There you go. You're answering the right question. Kellen Moore knew what he was getting into. He's building. Give it time. Of course. I mean, it's August the 25th, for crying out loud. Charles Schulman. You think Moore is waiting for a veteran quarterback to get cut loose? No. I'm not saying it's not possible that they won't bring in a veteran quarterback to be a potential backup. I don't think it's going to happen. However, that being said, I think he's made it clear, and I don't think he's lying about it. I think that he's going to go roll with what he's got. All right. That leads into this. You know what it really leads into? Before we get to the rest of the show in Derry's Dime, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they are a company. You know this. If you're a part of the Dat family, you know this. They're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you, someone you know, someone you love, maybe you don't love them, but you feel sorry for them and they need help. Well, if they need help, it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will help, I promise you. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you'll be well informed and begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Well, you'll have to wait until after we're done with the dime and more comments, because we're going to fill you in later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. You know what's on today's show. We don't have to tell you. Also, by the way, final week of NFL team previews. They were supposed to start this morning. They're going to start this afternoon. You know what? Yesterday was the first day in 8 days. I said, you know what? I'm taking today off. I'm not doing anything today. Yesterday. And I didn't. Kind of enjoyed time with the family. So I actually took yesterday off again. That was the first time I'd had a full day off since last Saturday. And when look, it is what it is. I'm not complaining because, look, I talk about football for a living for the most part. And I'm not complaining, but I needed a day off. And so the shorts will begin again this afternoon. We will be doing the AFC South and the NFC South, and Gabe Henderson will be glad to know that this afternoon, my prediction, over under, Houston Texans, no spoiler alerts. Tomorrow morning, Atlanta Falcons. By Friday morning, we will have the New Orleans Saints. All this week, AFC and NFC South. Done as shorts on our YouTube page and also on our TikTok page. After today, also, we enter LSU and Tulane into the mix. We will talk about LSU and Tulane a little bit today. But again, after today, we will talk about them a lot more. Friday, we will have our first full weekend preview show. Zach Ewing will be here. Gabe Henderson will be here. We will give you our predictions on who's going to win each division, an early prediction on who's going to go to the Super Bowl. Gabe Henderson will have some college football picks, I'm sure. We will figure out how we're going to do it. It's not our full show because Uncle Big Nick will be joining us on September the 5th. He is going to be out of town this weekend doing what people with more money than me do. Let's enjoy himself. So anyway. All right. A couple more comments before I get to the dime, and very quickly, let's see here. Apathy says the Saints are going to be more terrible than Rouse's King Cakes. I love my friends at Rouse's, but you ain't lying, Apathy. They got the King Cakes ain't good. Most everything else there is good, but not that King Cakes. Not the King Cakes. What else before we get to the dime real quick? N.O. Scully. New Orleans Scully. Big hootout. We got 3 backup quarterbacks. Damn sure. Well, we actually got 2. I wouldn't call Jake Haener a backup quarterback. He's going to be a model somewhere, some point. Just saying. Mark, please stop. Kellen Moore is an offensive guru and can mold the ride. Here's the deal as I get into the dime. Okay, that's a good lead. And by the way, I'm not trying to be mean. I think it's absolutely possible that Spencer Rattler is the starter on September the 7th. If you think he's going to be a long-term answer at quarterback, first of all, you're one of about 20 people, because there's only about 20 people that probably think that. And second, and that includes his mama and his daddy and him. So there's only 17 other people that think that. You're one of them, Mark. Just saying. Leads into this. I'm going to start with Shedeur Sanders in my dime. Why? You'll find out in a minute. Shedeur Sanders versus the third teamers. Yes. What were his stats? He had a second and he had his third team offensive line. I get that. But 3 for 6 for 14 yards, 5 sacks, and 1 fumble. The O-line was to blame, sure, for the Cleveland Browns. That's for sure. But that's what we've been talking about for many months, and why I think, and don't get me wrong, I'm not happy about this, and I'm not going to be happy if I'm right. I want Shedeur Sanders to succeed. But that's what we've been talking about for many months and why I think he went in the 5th round, why I believe he cannot succeed unless he has an absolute top-notch O-line. Is he accurate? Absolutely. Does he make good reads? I think he does. But he has no pocket presence, and he holds on to the ball way too long. And those things generally don't change. And I bring this up not only because it's Shedeur Sanders, but I think in part that is what's going to doom Spencer Rattler in the long run. Coincidence that they're both 5th-round draft picks? No. It just one has a lot less fanfare, and that's saying something because actually Spencer Rattler had a pretty good bit of fanfare. That leads into today's dime as we start. And it might help if I actually put my slide up there. There we go. Look, the Rattler lovers won't admit it, but the truth is we know we have in him. He's someone who certainly isn't ready to be an NFL-ready quarterback. Some of you might not be ready to write him off, but common sense is the same today as it was a month ago or 2 months ago or on the day that Tyler Shough was picked with the 40th pick of the NFL draft. I have to be honest, I said this. As I sit here right now this morning, I have no idea. I have no idea who is going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints on September 7th against the Arizona Cardinals. But I know it makes sense. Neither quarterback won the job. Neither was better than the other. In my opinion, neither gives you a real chance to have a great season record-wise unless the defense way overperforms and Alvin Kamara, Kendra Miller, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed have the season of their lives. What are the chances that all of those things happen? But we said in the beginning, unless Rattler convincingly won the job, and no one with a straight face can say that he did, it only makes sense to go with the guy you hope to be the future quarterback. Sure, you don't want him to lose confidence in himself, talking about Tyler Shough, of course, but let's face reality. It's not like things are suddenly going to get easier for this team in week 5. We've been talking about, how long have we been talking about? One reason, one possibility why we think Spencer Rattler might start week 1 and maybe last through week 4 is because potentially Kellen Moore wouldn't want his possible future quarter, all these ifs and ands and buts, that Kellen Moore wouldn't want his potential long-term quarterback to go and start 0-4 and lose his confidence. But like we said, realistically, are things going to suddenly get easier for this team in week 5 because they're playing lesser teams? The New York Giants, the New England Patriots are going to be improved? Are they going to start reeling off wins week after week after week? No. We're probably, again, realistically looking at somewhere. Realistically, don't hate me because I say this, because I'm trying to be a realist. We're probably looking at somewhere between a 3-win and a 6-win kind of season. Anything less than 3, obviously, super sucks. It's going to be miserable. And anything more than 6 is just lanyard. It is what it is. But this team has other questions as well. But I ask, now what? Kellen Moore has been putting off this announcing his decision. Again, a decision I personally believe was made a month ago, maybe longer than that ago. Whatever the decision is, there's nothing that anyone, not only have we not seen anything in preseason that would lead us one way or the other, or could lead a coach one way or the other. I don't think there's anything anyone's seen at all at any point. You know, I heard one of my friends say on a podcast, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, that Spencer Rattler, there's no way he's not getting the job because it was shown last week in practice that he was with the ones for most of practice last week, and then he started. And when the ones came out on Saturday, he came out. I don't think that means anything. I mean, realistically, is anyone going to be shocked if Spencer Rattler wins the job? No. Is anybody going to be shocked if Tyler Shough wins the job? No. The fact that we don't know the answer to this question and neither one has been great is a problem. Almost every backup quarterback the Saints played in the preseason, let's be honest, looked better than either Tyler Shough or Spencer Rattler. And here's, I call up the stats, Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger, who is never going to be a starting quarterback in this league, was 22 of 31 for 198 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. If that were Spencer Rattler's stats from Saturday, he'd have been crowned by now. The point is, and you look at numbers on the screen, and overall, the preseason, y'all like stats so much. Some of you have been talking about stats, practice stats. How about game stats? Shough's numbers were just slightly better than Spencer Rattler. And I mean slightly, ever so slightly. But if you're going to go and all these people who are hopeful of the future, and I'm one of them, I think Kellen Moore is the right person for this job. I think in the long run that this team will be better served from what they learned this year and figuring out who belongs and who doesn't. Who's going to go forward with this team? They're going to lose quite a few veterans going forward. Some of the big name veterans, the Mario Davises, the Cameron Jordans of the world, the Alvin Kamaras, the Taysom Hills, who are, even if he doesn't play, still going to be on the sideline. Those guys are going to help these young guys become better. And we might not find out who the quarterback is this year. I still don't think the future quarterback for the New Orleans Saints is on this roster. However, again, you may not agree with me, but my take is this. I don't know who the quarterback is, but my opinion is it should be Tyler Shough. And it should be Tyler Shough because I've said this. I think we've seen enough of Spencer Rattler to know that he's never going to be the future of this team. I think we know that. And while I'm not super high on Tyler Shough either, we don't know if he can or can't be the future of this team. The little bit I've seen, he looks like he has more potential than Spencer Rattler. I'm just going to be, tell it the way that I think that it is. Going back to the beginning, Spencer Rattler has no pocket presence. It's a problem. He locks on to his number one receiver. It's a problem. Tyler Shough's probably going to turn the ball over a decent amount, let's be honest, because he makes some really silly passes sometimes. But if you think he's the future for this franchise, there's only one way to find out, and it's to start him and start him on day one, in my opinion. Regardless, they're both going to get chances throughout the year, whether one's injured or whether one stinks and the other one needs to go in or whatever it is. They're both. I'd be shocked if both. I told you the over-under is 5.5 on how many starts they each get. I think it's going to happen. But it's got to start, in my opinion, with Tyler Shough on day one. It makes no sense to do anything else. And that is my dime. Look, I don't want to be right about this, saying the floor is 3 wins, the ceiling is 6. I don't want to be right about that. I hope I'm pleasantly surprised. Rocky, longtime Dat family member, was talking about this morning on his Facebook page about how he doesn't want to hear any negativity. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to be a realist. I am positive on this team and the fact that, again, I think next year there will be. I truly hope that we can be sitting here next year at this time and say, you know what, this team has a chance to win 8 or 9 or 10 games this year. I hope that's the case next year. Do I think? I don't think we're going to be there, but I do think, we talk about their over-under win total, which is 4.5 right now at most of the books. I think there's an excellent chance that their over-under win total is going into next year is probably 6.5 or 7.5, which would be a 2 to 3 game improvement. Get a 2-game look. You bottom out this year, but you have hope. You get 2 or 3 games better next year, and then you get 2 or 3 games better the year after, and you're in contention again. It could happen in 2 years. It could happen in 2 years. And as Scully says, it's going to be Tyler Shough. Sean wants to know, do I think it's possible they won't announce the starter to the media in public until next Wednesday or Thursday? No. Because nobody keeps secrets anymore. And once they tell, hold on. Get for Clint. Once they tell whoever it is, it's gonna leak out. Because I can tell you, whoever loses is probably going to tell somebody for sure. And anyway, the team's going to know you can't keep it quiet. So no, I don't think it's going to work that way. I think what's going to happen is whenever Kellen Moore makes his decision, he's going to tell the players. And then after he tells the players, and I mean Rattler and Shough, he's probably going to tell the media, or at the bare minimum, it's going to leak out. Rainy Cajun, hello there. And by the way, Rainy Cajun got me not a little, it's actually kind of big. It's a little thing to put on my mic. Again, first gift ever. I'm sorry I haven't put it on yet. It's for my birthday anyway, so as long as I put it on by Friday, we're good, right? It's been crazy, man. And Scully says Saints will get 5 or 6 wins. Charles Schulman says, why have I changed my mind? I said, Shough, I haven't changed my mind. Why did I change my mind? I don't think I changed my mind. Earl's Picks. I don't know. Jim saying I've seen tons of people screaming the rat is the savior. You know what? I see less of that. I don't see nearly as much of that as I had. Let's see. Silver Gator, we're screwed no matter which quarterback starts. Screwed? That might be. See, again. Realistically, what is this team looking for when you're talking about the future this year? Do you really care what I know I've said this. It's been a little while since I've said this, actually. It's been at least a few weeks. Do you really care what the final record is? No. I mean, I don't. I got to be honest. Now, I'm not contradicting myself from before, and by no means do I think this team should tank or do anything that intentionally tries to lose a game ever. But I think that what you want to see from week to week is from week 1 against Arizona. You see it there on the screen. It's, by the way, again, it's so great to have that graphic on the screen when you can actually have NFL week 1 and the score and the schedule bug. But it's not about what the final record is. At least it's not for me right now. Now, don't get me wrong. If they surprise people and they come out and they win some games and, you know, everybody's feeling good about this team and somehow, some way, they're like, even if they're like 4-6, not likely, but possible. If you go through 10 games and they're 4-6, well, then wins do matter. You sound like, okay, well, they have a chance to run something off. But we've told you about the schedule, and we're going to get into more of that later in the week. Start talking about that, especially on Friday. Here, by the way, Rattler QB1, Dattitude guy. My name is Jim, by the way. But you can call me Dattitude guy. I've been called worse. Will be so upset. I'm not going to be upset at all. I think it's hilarious that people think I will be upset if Spencer Rattler is named the quarterback. I don't. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to sleep. If it happens this afternoon, I'm going to sleep great tonight. If it happens tomorrow, I'm going to sleep great tomorrow night. I don't care. I think there's 0.0 chance that either quarterback starts 17 games for the New Orleans Saints this year. Not 0.1, not 0.05, 0.0 chance that either one of these guys starts all 17 games. It ain't happening. I don't care. And again, I think what are the chances if Spencer Rattler, they are different. Their futures are different. They're seen differently. You can say whatever you want. One got drafted by Kellen Moore. The other one got drafted by Dennis Allen. One is 0-6 in the NFL, and the other one's 0-0. What makes sense? I know the Saints aren't always going to use common sense. Just saying. Who dat daddy? This comment is 12 minutes old, so I'm not exactly part of my dime. I'm assuming you're telling me you agree with. Hector Garcia, forget quarterback issues. Nothing goes right unless the offensive line and defensive line improves. I agree 100%. And one thing that bothered me from the other day, and again, it's hard to use preseason stats too much, but the Saints defense as a whole Bo Nix came in and started, and he played against the number 1 defense. He was 10 of 14 for 110 yards and a touchdown. Overall, passing-wise, here's another thing that bothers me about what I saw on Saturday. There are certain things about preseason you can throw out of a window and they don't matter. But you know what does matter? The fact that I know a lot of people think the Broncos are going to be potential winners in the AFC West. I don't. I still think they're a third-place team in the AFC West, a very good division, by the way. They could be second. They're not going to beat the Chiefs. That being said, there is no question that the Broncos are a better overall football team than New Orleans. It's not even close, okay? You can see that in preseason. And again, numbers in the grand scheme of things don't mean a whole ton. But when your first team defense allows Bo Nix to go 10 of 14 for 110 yards and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton, I mean, what did he play? A quarter and a half? 4 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Audric Estime gained 45 yards on 8 carries and had a touchdown. I mean, you can't allow those kind of numbers. So those are the things that kind of bother me. Meanwhile, you see it on the screen if you're watching live or after the fact. If you're listening, you can't see this, obviously. But I put the team total rushing. Now, these stats will, during the regular season, obviously, there'll be different kind of stats, and I may even put the opponent's big stats on here as well. But as a team, the Saints rushed 17 times for 76 yards and a touchdown. Zach Ewing posted something, I think yesterday, that the Saints finished again. Just like practice stats are really worthless. Preseason stats are only a little less worthless, but sometimes I think the bad stats actually matter. The good stats don't matter as much because you're not playing. They just don't matter as much. The bad stats matter because you're playing against vanilla defenses, or if you're on defense, vanilla offenses. It's not the same. They're not blitzing most of the time. They're not trying to hit you as hard. The Saints finished with the least amount of rushing yards in the preseason. Now, again, Kamara didn't play. 1 play, didn't even touch the ball. Kendra Miller was, Saturday, 3 carries for 15 yards. In the overall grand scheme of things, I'm fine. But Devin Neal, who some people are saying is going to be the running back 3, 5 carries for 20 yards. Okay. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 2 for 4. Saints got issues in the run. Hector, you're 100% right. I'm worried about this O-line, which I came into the preseason 3-4 weeks ago, super confident about and happy, this team has made some strides. I don't know if I can say that. They've actually gone the other way, and part of it's because of the injuries. Why are they having so many injuries? Let's see. Kyle Sherman says, bright spot. We found some good young talent. I believe this coaching staff will develop young talent. I agree. Sean, why do you think the New Orleans, this is a very good question. Why do I think the New Orleans Saints local media are so split on who should start at quarterback in week 1? And here's another thing. I have friends in the media who they either say they think Rattler has clearly won the job. There are people saying that Rattler's clearly won the job, including one of my colleagues that I love dearly is saying that Rattler clearly won the job. Anyone, and I mean anyone that's saying that either one of these guys clearly won the job, I don't know what they're smoking or watching, but it wasn't the preseason. Nobody clearly won this job. No matter who gets it, somebody's going to win. And I hate, it sucks when somebody wins by default. But somebody's going to win by default. UBN says the fact that no quarterback took control in the preseason tells you all you need to know about this team. Yeah, it's true. And back to Sean's, why do I think the local? I think the local media just wants, just like the fans are tired of what's happened over the last few years and was spoiled so long by Drew Brees and Sean Payton. It's not really that much different for the local media. They got to cover this team every day. I did too, but from a further of a distance. I don't have to be at Saints camp every day. You know, if they end up a 2-win team, you know, I have to go to 8 games a year and, you know, talk about it here with you from my home studio. They have to go to and be there all the time. So they just want change, and they think the biggest change, and I get this part of it, I guess. They think the biggest departure is a lot of them think Spencer Rattler. Again, if you don't think they're openly, well, no, maybe not openly, whatever. If you don't think a lot of the local media is rooting for Spencer Rattler to win, they are 100. There are at least 10 or 12 members of the media that I know just sitting in the press box and listening to him in the preseason. Rooting. They might not say it. Some of them will say it, but some of them won't say it. Absolutely rooting for Spencer Rattler. I don't know if any of them are rooting for Tyler Shough to win the job. I don't know. Because Spencer Rattler is just different. I get that part of it, I guess. They're tired of, like, Spencer Rattler would be fun. I mean, he'd probably be more fun than Tyler Shough. You never know what he's going to do. But then again, maybe it's the same for Shough. Who knows? Adam says he thinks Tyler's upside is unknown. We've seen what Rattler is capable of. He thinks more should use Shough to truly. Look, Shuck's going to play at some point. Again, whether it's game 1 or game 5 or game 8. QBN's talking about in Detroit that people love them some Dan Campbell. So many shirts with him on it. Let's see if they love him after this year. They probably will. Maybe 2 years. I know. A lot of 0.0s. You ought to see how many times Gabe's doing in the green room. A lot of 0.0s back there. Let's see. What else we got here? Cecil says, if Shough does start, then they'll have to ride him until the wheels fall off because if he's benched for Rattler, there's no turning back. I don't agree with that. I think they'll be going. I actually think there's going to be some going back and forth. I think even if Shough starts, Rattler's going to get in there. And I think, you know, if let's say Shough starts and he stinks, okay? Let's just say that happens. Because a lot of people think, I mean, we've been talking about Rattler starting and him stinking, and then they go to Shough in week 5. What if Shough starts and he stinks and they go 0-4 and they go to Rattler? You think they're just going to stick with Rattler if he goes 0-4 over the next 4? No. You go back and forth. I think it's going to be I really think it's going to be a roller coaster at quarterback. Again, nothing sucks worse than having to bounce between quarterbacks. I also think there's a strong possibility that if they both stink so bad, just to finish the season, you do get someone else. I don't know who. I hope this doesn't turn into what I think it's going to turn into, because quarterback is just not just quarterback. S. Callie, by the way, hello. I'm sorry I didn't show your other comment. We have bigger issues than quarterback. Agreed about either one starting a full season. Yeah, they're not going to start a full season. I don't know about bigger issue. I don't think there's any bigger issue for this team than quarterback, but there definitely are other issues and other important issues. Mitch Bergeron says he's not sure we overacted based on camp and preseason. We have the possibility of having a decent backfield. We're going to be looking at an 8-man defensive front until we can have a quarterback that can produce. Possibly. I'm not sold on this backfield. I'm just not. Let's see. Oscar, whoever starts a quarterback, just get behind him. Amen. We're not in tough division. Yeah, for sure. That's true. Here we go. You want to go back to the question that Sean asked? By the way, this guy should change his name to Hater, because that's all. This guy's just a hater on the show. He's a hater. He's probably I don't know. Anyway, you should change your name to Hater. WOBIO W197, whatever that is. Whenever people use names like that as their screen name, it makes you wonder. They don't want you to know anything about them and who they are. They want to hide behind things. Why do you want to hide behind anything? Ross Jackson said Rattler won. Jeff Duncan said Rattler. Nick Underhill said Rattler. That's 3 for 3. Underhill even said Taysom should be QB2. Well, that's effing absurd. Anybody who thinks Taysom Hill should be QB anything at this stage of his career should probably, I don't know, find something else to do. If you're in this business. No one really said that. I can't believe he really said. I used to listen to that show all the time just because I enjoyed it. I just haven't had time to lately. It's nothing against them. I just haven't had time to listen to him. But if he really said that, which I don't believe he really said that. Not realistically anyway. I mean, Taysom Hill has got bigger problems than worrying about if he's ever going to be QB2, by the way. Let's see. One Smoke. Welcome. You're a little late. You don't really care who the quarterback is. They both will play. Already made up your mind that neither of these guys is a franchise quarterback. Probably in the same boat. All right, we're going to get to Gabe in just a minute because we're going to take a small break. Also, what do we think about RB2? Are we convinced that Kendra Miller is going to be good? Are we convinced he's going to stay healthy? We are, whatever it is, we're definitely convinced that he is going to be the QB2. I mean, RB2. Okay. Screwing up all kinds of stuff this morning. Yeah, by the way, if you weren't with us in the beginning, James Burnip got cut. The Saints have made some of their cuts. So Kai Kroger will be the punter for the New Orleans Saints. Kai Kroger, who went to South Carolina. Burnip was cut. Tight end Seth Green. Running back Cam Akers was cut, if you weren't here earlier. Sad for him. That probably Cam Akers is probably done. I can't imagine anyone's going to give him a shot. If you can't even make the Saints 53-man to start, probably means you're done. Defensive end Jeremiah Martin is done. Tight end Michael Jacobson cut. Wide receiver Moochie Dixon. And offensive lineman Kyle Hergel. So there you go. Yeah, Christopher. Look, everybody's got. I guess if you got trolls, that mean you've kind of made it, right? I mean, we're really like people give a damn if you've got trolls. If you don't have trolls, they don't care enough to be a troll. I mean, what makes people? By the way, completely off topic. I'm asking Gabe. Get ready for this question. I'm gonna answer this question. This might be what I'll lead off with. What makes someone? Not that you would ever do this, but what makes someone say, "I'm going to be a troll"? What kind of numbnut do you have to be to say, I'm just going to F with people today? I'm going to try to piss people off. I'm going to be a troll. What do you do for a living? I'm a troll. You can get paid for being on YouTube. Can you get paid for being a troll? I don't think so, but maybe. When they figure out how to monetize being a troll, there are going to be some rich people out there, including WOBIO W197. They call him Coach Z. Well, Coach Z, you, sir, are the troll of the day. Congratulations. You win absolutely nothing. The Northern Saints had a fantasy draft last night. Only 4 Saints taken in the entire draft. You took Tyler Shough with the last. Come on, man. Stop playing fantasy football. If you took Tyler Shough in a fantasy draft, I don't care if it's a dynasty, keeper, whatever league. Come on, man. Jason said I shouldn't feed the trolls. Sometimes, see, Jason, what you don't realize and what they don't realize because they're not smart enough to realize this, that I actually get a kick out of feeding the trolls sometimes. It actually makes me happy inside. But they're not smart enough to realize that I'm effing with them. They don't. They're just not smart enough. All right. We're going to talk about a couple other things, and then we're going to wrap up the show with Saints on this Mono-E Monday. But first, we told you earlier, we were letting you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. Is it? I don't know. Is it? How do they do it? How did they figure it out? Well, thanks for asking. That's an important question. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemel, never trolls. They don't have trolls there. They're so good, they don't have trolls. They will begin an extensive auction process among established private equity funds from around the world. And they'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on that platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none, and I mean none, with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. What is it? What's really important? It ain't trolls. It ain't tolls. And it ain't jelly rolls. It's the rest of your life. That's what's important. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. One Smoke says, the Cardinals are not that good. Neither are the Saints. I'm trying to be mean. There's a reason why the 6-point favorites up from 3.5 just a few weeks ago. Northern Saint said he likes trolls. Oh, that I'm spending too much time on trolls, and that he likes jelly rolls. Okay, well, I don't dislike jelly rolls. I mean, something's wrong. If you don't like jelly rolls, it's worse than being a troll, right? What about you? You like jelly rolls? Gabe Henderson?
Not really.
Okay. What do you like that's got sugar in it? That's such a loaded question.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, what do you think about trolls?
The only thing I hear when you say trolls, have you ever watched Always Sunny?
Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
With Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
I like bits and pieces, but never really, no.
I'm not gonna sing the song.
Show.
I'm not gonna sing the song on the show, but they have a song on it.
They have a troll song?
They have a troll song.
Yeah. Nice. Maybe we'll play it on this show.
No, you cannot play it on this show.
Is it that bad that we can't play on this show?
Yes.
You got filth forms, filth words?
No, it's
got sexual innuendo?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Kyle says, great show. Charles Mangus is happy you're here. Chad Gage says, one of the greatest all-time shows. Well, thank you. Oh, you mean Always Sunny. Damn it. I thought you meant Dattitude. All right. Let's get into it this morning, Gabe.
Yep.
Are you ready for my Houston Texans predictions coming out later this afternoon?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, are we going to agree on this one too?
Probably.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about let's break away. And I know people want to talk about, but look, we are now what? It's 5 days away from real college football. Forget about that. Look, I'm all for week 0. And I've actually enjoyed week 0s the past couple of years, but this one was just kind of like
fun. Did you watch Hawaii against Stanford?
No, I didn't.
It was terrible football, but it was fun.
Yeah, I saw that Hawaii won in the last second field goal, which means the fighting trees are not going to be very good this year.
No, Frank Reich's Stanford is not very good.
Yeah, oh well. LSU Tigers facing the Clemson Tigers on Saturday. Currently, LSU is a 3.5-point underdog listed by DraftKings, over under 57.5. The question in the headline, if you can't read it, if you're listening after the fact, is can LSU finally start with a victory? But I have a bigger question, Gabe. Do they absolutely have to start with a victory? That's a lot of thinking.
To do what?
To make the playoff.
No.
Okay, I agree.
But this is teetering the must-win line.
Yeah, look,
solely because if you lose this game, not only is all of the talk gonna continue to be around Brian Kelly and how he
yes, it will
games, and there's gonna, I mean, if you want to talk about trolls, there's gonna be trolls and toxic fans out the ass.
Yeah,
if LSU loses this game, and not only that, this gives them very little room for error in an SEC that is loaded with contenders.
I agree.
So, Adam, I mean, it's not a must-win to make the playoff, but
Adam says it's funny that Bama and Georgia start with gimme games. LSU plays number 4 off the bat. Who makes these schedules?
Adam, are you a new LSU fan? I don't ask that condescendingly. I ask that seriously. They've been doing this for 15 years now.
And I've been complaining about it.
I love it.
I know you do. And I know it's something that we disagree on. This is what
college football is about. I'm sorry.
Look, especially now that you're about to go to a 9-game SEC season.
Like I think everyone else.
Yeah, they should. I'm not saying they should.
Oh, okay.
No, I 100% agree with it.
No.
Oh, no. Okay. No. 100% agree with it. I actually wouldn't mind if they played a 12-game SEC season, but that's a whole different story. I'm not saying they should do that, but I don't have any problem playing more teams in the SEC. Then you have a real winner of the SEC. Anyway, Adam says, by the way, no, he's actually from
Adam, they've been doing this for about 15 years. This is
I don't like this. Okay. I would rather them play a game like, and I know it's harder to schedule, but I would rather see this game. I would rather them play a tune-up game early and either play this game like in week 2. I'm okay with them playing Clemson. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I think they should. You don't have preseason in college football. I would rather see them play like a preseason game you're going to win and get things ready and get things clicking a little bit and then play a game like this, or play this game like in November when you both have a out of conference week that's open. That's just me personally.
No, because most teams don't have that out of conference week, Jim. It's the SEC that does.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Clemson does. Clemson has one in the last week of the season because that's the rivalry game. They play South Carolina.
That's true. Yeah,
but they have the ACC block from.
Okay.
Most teams do not have that extra week. That is an SEC thing.
Oh, so somebody's got somewhere. Then play it in week 2. I think it makes no sense.
I love it here. I have no problem with it. If you,
we all know what it's about. It's about money. It's not it's not about anything else but money anyway. So that's.
I want to commend. I will say this: it is about money. I want to commend the officials at LSU and at Clemson for playing this game on campuses, because next year they're going to open up at LSU. Playing this on this is how it should be. I agree with that for LSU. Sure. I don't need LSU USC at Allegiant, even though Allegiant's my favorite stadium in the country. I need those games home and home. I need LSU and the UCLA. They played in the Rose Bowl. UCLA was scheduled to come to Death Valley, and that got canceled. Florida State, like the Florida State game, they played at Camping World and in the Dome. Absolutely not.
Exactly right. Yeah, I agree.
Give me games at Doak Walker in Death Valley. I mean, come on.
I agree.
So I want to commend the officials for this. This is going to be fun.
We have disagreeing comments here. Charles Manga says play La Tech first, then Clemson. Earl's Pick says this should not be LSU's first game. It's getting annoying. And Chad Gage says, "Woo! To be the best, you have to beat the best." And the reason why I did that, if you were listening after the fact, wonder why I just screamed to the mic. He says, like Ric Flair says. Like 94-year-old Ric Flair says. Anyway, I don't know. It bugs me. All right, forget about whether they should or shouldn't. What do you see in this game? Gabe Henderson, you can find all the stuff at sportsbookreview.com. They'll have some picks. Probably you might have a pick. You have a pick on this game, or are you going to?
I'm actually in the process of writing an early odds and prediction article.
Okay. So what are your thoughts going into this game? Not so much if they have to win or not. What are your thoughts on, obviously odds makers thinks that Clemson not only is a better team, but fairly significant. And I know it's at home. You get 2 to 2.5 points in college, probably closer to 2.5 for a home game. But I don't know. That means if this game were at LSU, they'd be like a 1 point, maybe 1.5 point favorite. That 3.5, that hook on top of the 3 means something to me and tells me that the odds makers, the people betting, think that Clemson is significant enough better than LSU.
I don't think it's that Clemson is significantly better than LSU. I think Clemson is a more known quantity than LSU.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we have seen, and I hate to harp on this, but it's true. Garrett Nussmeier in big spots has continually pissed down his leg.
That's true.
And the LSU secondary hasn't looked good in years now. And if LSU hasn't figured it out on defense in this game, Jim, this could get ugly. Because Clemson returns its top three receivers from last season, as well as a Heisman favorite at quarterback.
Yeah.
Gabe Henderson. So, I mean, this, and plus Dabo Swinney for the first time dipped into the transfer portal to strengthen his team. So, I mean, these are two legitimate national championship contenders. I don't think it's that one is necessarily better than the other. I just think it's odds makers saying, okay, enough is enough. Because last year LSU was the favorite over USC. 2 years ago, they were the favorite over Florida State. They've had enough of this. Brian Kelly, we've addressed what we need to. We've gotten better. There are questions in this LSU team, and I think this line shows that.
A couple things real quick. Breaking news, well, not really breaking. Our own Luke Johnson says the Saints have now cut a total of 14 players already. I think they'll all be done by the end of the day. By the way, I'm just going to read them all. And a couple of these guys, I don't know that I can pronounce their names. I don't even know who the hell they are. That shows you how important they are. There's at least 3 guys on this list. I have no idea who the hell they are. Running back Cam Akers, we tell you that. Punter James Burnham, we tell you that. To go along with wide receiver Moochie Dixon, Roderick Daniels also was cut. Not a surprise there. Defensive ends Jasheen Davis, Jeremiah Martin, and Amari Thomas are cut. Offensive tackle Josiah Aziram has been cut. That is the 7th-round pick from last year. He will go in the practice squad, I would guess. Jonathan Mendoza, also tackle. Tight ends Seth Green and Michael Jacobson has been cut, again, according to Luke Johnson on X. Guard Kyle Hergel and Mike Panasic. I mean, I guess that's how you pronounce it. I don't know who that is. And linebacker Tyreen Powell. All of those guys have been cut, according to Luke Johnson. Uncle Big Nick is right. I think this line could be affected by what LSU has been doing in week 1. I mean, it's kind of like when, if a team goes over 4 weeks in a row, then sometimes they over adjust with lines,
Yeah, and I mean, I really think this game is a toss-up. My head has been telling me to lean Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
My heart tells me that LSU might win this game. I just don't know. I need to see the progress that has been promised from LSU, and I don't know. I have my doubts.
Yeah, no, and look, I'm not going to make my official pick yet, and I'll give a spoiler alert. I mean, I think LSU either. And this is what's going to make it tough. I think either LSU wins the game out. I don't think it's going to fall in that hole. I think LSU either wins the game outright, or what you said, their defense isn't. I mean, that's where we really should be worried, right? I mean, or they lose by double digits. I think one of those two things is going to happen. So I think if it's close, it means LSU won. I think they'll find a way to win. I think if it's not close, LSU has almost no chance to rout this team, in my opinion. But there's a chance that Clemson could rout LSU, if that makes sense.
Let's also not forget that Clemson came out extremely slow last year, and they looked terrible against Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia steamrolled them in week 1 last year.
Yep. But then you're talking about just like Garrett Nussmeier is a potential Heisman Trophy is not potential. He is a Heisman Trophy candidate early year. So is Cade Klubnik. So, I mean.
Klubnik's the favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, you got two of the best quarterbacks in college football, at least in the preseason, facing off against each other in week 1. And if I were just a regular college football fan and didn't care, this would be the game that I would probably be the most fired up about this weekend. And there are some good ones, including number 1 against number 2, right? Or is it 2 against 3? I forget. What is it?
No, number 1 against number 2.
Number 1 against number 2. Lance Edwards. Who dat? Hello. Glad you're here, Lance. We're going to get back to the Saints, I promise. And we already know you, Ben. You hate Nuss. We get it. But anyway, you get it. I'm not going to make you give your early prediction, but I mean, do you agree with what I said about either LSU wins a close game or it's a rout?
Not necessarily. They haven't gotten routed in their openers. They've all been close.
Yeah, but a couple of them were kind of misleading. One of those games against Florida State, it was kind of misleading.
Not necessarily.
Not the one in the dome, the other one. The one in the dome
Yeah, that's fair.
David says if Perkins can shine again back in the star linebacker spot, the defense should be outstanding. Outstanding might be outstanding might be a little far to go. All right, I don't want to spend too much time. We got to go in a minute. I do want to spend at least 10 to 15 more minutes talking about the Saints. So I know this is, I'm just throwing you at this at you. I haven't really I didn't tell you this was coming, but I do want to talk about Tulane for just a minute, and we will talk more about Tulane on Wednesday and Friday. But they have a big game this weekend. They're playing Northwestern at home. It's going to be super hot. It's going to be an 11 a.m. start. I don't know why the hell Tulane, and I get TV, but TV should not make teams in the South play outside in August in the middle of the day. They just shouldn't. F TV, F your money, and all that other stuff. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous they're playing this game at 11 a.m. Anyway, I told you I would go off on another rant before the day was over. The Tulane Green Wave are a 5.5-point favorite over Northwestern in week one, a very low total of 46.5.
Very confused with that.
Yeah, that's a super low total.
You had plus 5.5, and then in Tulane blue. So
that's just the color. No, Northwestern is at Tulane, and they're plus 5.5.
Gotcha.
So Northwestern is a 5.5-point dog going to Tulane. I think this is a must-win for the Wave in the fact of if they are going to be the non-Power 5 school that has a chance to go to the playoffs, I don't think that they don't have to go 12-0, but they can't lose this one. They can only lose to like Ole Miss.
Yeah, you can't lose to Northwestern. If you lose to Northwestern, you might as well just kiss your playoff hopes goodbye. And that sounds harsh, but if there's another one-loss Group of 5 representative that you're vying for that spot with, they're not going to look at Tulane and say, well,
100%.
That's a playoff team, but they lost to Northwestern at home. Northwestern is a bad football program.
Yeah, I think the only – and looking at their schedule, and I'm going to be at the Tulane-Duke game on September 13th. Looking forward to that.
That'll be a fun game.
It will be a fun game. That is a 7 o'clock start. Looking forward to that. Shout out to my friend Jerry Caillouette over at Mandeville Seafood, who's going to bring me over with the Greenbackers and some Tulane peeps. And I'm going to get to go to – I've been to Yeoman several times, but always for high school football, never for a Tulane game. I'm ashamed to say that. I'm going this year. I've been saying I want to go. I'm going to go. But I really think the only game that Tulane could lose and still make it, excuse me, is Ole Miss. They play them the following week at Oxford. If they're close, they lose that game and they lose by, a touchdown or less, and they win all the other ones and go 11-1, then they could make it. But, that's a big if. So, and my answer to this question is they absolutely have to win this game against Northwestern. So, maybe even convincingly. You think they will?
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah. All right.
Northwestern's bad.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. David Borderland says, good morning. Kelly needs to win this more than LSU needs it, if you know what he means.
No, I don't.
You know what he means, but I don't agree with him.
Yeah.
Look, Brian Kelly's not going anywhere. And he's definitely not going anywhere before the season's over unless it turns into a train wreck and he wants to leave. That would really be the only way.
If they're under 500 midway through the season, maybe. But they're not going to be. So,
all right, final thoughts this morning as we move along, little doggy. This is, look, to me, and not just because it's birthday week for both of us. Although yours is technically Sunday, right?
Sunday.
All right, so my week always starts on Monday and ends on Sunday. Like normal.
Mine does too.
I never understood the calendar.
I agree
starting on the week on Sunday.
That is the correct take.
No sense whatsoever.
That is the correct take.
So it is birthday week for both of us, but that's not why it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. Number two, I'm going to say, is because you can see the cooler weather on the horizon, and 95 is probably gone. I can.
In the 90s all week here.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference to me, there's a big difference between 90 or 91 and 95, in my opinion. So we got 90 coming. But number one is because real football is here. None of this week 0 crap or whatever. They're going to make their cuts today, and they'll be finished tomorrow. And by Probably tomorrow we'll know who QB1 is and things will be set. We're talking about real football. We're talking about Saints, Cardinals, or whatever. There you go. Stats are over part of my face. That's okay. Doesn't matter. We're talking about real football, Gabe Henderson. That's what's exciting about this week.
Yeah, I'm excited for not only real football, and as a neutral observer who is heavily involved in the show, I'm excited to see what the Saints decide at quarterback. And I will try to not break my arm patting myself on the back for being right about Rattler.
About Rattler?
Yeah, that he was going to start.
Oh, well, I mean, you're going to pat yourself on the back?
Yeah, because I've said for months, my stance has always been.
Hold on, that was as close as not to mention as there is, because I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to pat.
No, I said I'm going to try not to break my arm patting myself on the back.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
So in other words, you think Rattler's going to win it? See, I still think it's.
I do.
I don't know.
I have not wavered.
I still think it's going to be Shough.
I've not wavered at all from the start. I've always said that Rattler is going to start the first 4 games at least.
Okay.
And I think.
I mean, it's definitely possible, but I think
they both stink.
I think it's been why they would camouflage, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to camouflage. Maybe you'll have an answer. I don't.
Butts and seats, Jim. Butts and seats.
Butts and seats.
Yeah, because at least if Rattler starts the first 4 games, when the Saints get shit bumped in some of those games, I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. Things are going to get rough, and at least then you don't send out your rookie quarterback to get run over teams, and you still have that illusion of hope.
We're going to go trolling, Gabe Henderson. If Rattler wins the job, we're going to go trolling. We're going to have the trolls are going to be fun that day.
I will tell you, speaking of trolls, I did see someone earlier tweet that the Saints should inquire about Deshaun Watson. So you want to know how bad the trolls are out there. There you go.
Oh no. Yeah, no. Anyway. All right.
To answer James' question, I'll bow out on this. With the second pick of the draft next year, the Saints are selecting
Drew Aller.
I think it'd be Cade Klubnik over Drew Aller. I don't think Aller will be the top.
I don't like Penn State quarterback, so
it depends.
Okay.
Is Arch coming out or not? Because if Arch is coming out, he's the number 1 undisputed. Then I think it would be. Then if he's not coming out, I think it could be Garrett Nussmeier then.
Oh, I don't know.
Daddy's on staff.
The last time the Saints had a Penn State quarterback, by the way, his name was Kerry Collins.
Shout out Kerry Collins. Had a better NFL career than people think.
It's probably better today than either one of these guys. And he's probably like 50 years old.
Tough.
See you Wednesday.
All righty.
All right. I'm just having fun. I don't really mean it. Come on. I'm just having fun. Come on. One Smoke didn't know Jake Retzlaff was a quarterback at Tulane. Where you been, man? We talked about it on the show. Rob says Tulane could win by, I thought you said could win 7. They could win by 7. Oh, absolutely. I hope they do. I mean, look, we need, and it's a big if. I'm not saying it's going to happen. If the Saints go, I don't know, 4-13, if they do, we need some college football love. David Bordelon says Saints O-line scares them the most. It doesn't scare me the most, but it scares me. Reminds me of my daughter. You scare me, Daddy. Yeah. The Saints O-line is definitely scary. My mouse is acting up again. Chad Gage wants to know what Gabe wins or loses for the Saints. If you don't know this by now, if you're not a regular, or if you don't remember us talking about it, but Gabe has said the chances of the Saints winning 10 games is 0.0, and has said that if the Saints win 10 games, he will buy a Saints jersey with his own. We're not giving it to him. No one's gifting it to him. He will buy a Saints jersey, probably from China. I mean, Gabe's not going to spend $140. You will? You'll spend real money? Okay. He's going to buy a real jersey. He will buy a real jersey if the Saints win 10 games. Wear it on the show, and then he will give it away to one of our viewers. Now, one of our viewers / listeners, they have to wear the same size that Gabe wears. You can't be fat like me and then you're going to like take the jersey. No, I mean, we want someone who's going to actually wear the jersey. I mean, don't be fat man in a little jersey. No, but that's what he's going to do. He's going to give it away. If this, I don't say 0.0. I mean, I don't think the Saints going to win 10 games, but I don't think it's 0.0. It's 0 point something, but it ain't 0.0. Lance wants to know, is there another box can we check other at quarterback? I think that ship done sailed. Yeah, it was James Choctaw that asked, by the way, with the second pick of the 2026. All right, here, James Choctaw says with the second pick, the Saints he wants to know who the Saints are selecting. Who you got with the first pick? Is it the Browns? Is the Giants? Who's going to win one? Who's going to win fewer than the Saints? Right now, again, y'all hate when I say the odds makers. Some of you do. Some of you don't. Odds makers say it's going to be the Saints. Rocky, Saints win more games than last season. How many? Don't know, but more than last season. That means they would have to win 6 or more. If you believe, and I'm not discounting what you say. I mean, it's possible. If you really believe that, if you really believe that, you should take 10 or 20 bucks, have fun with it, and go into DraftKings, because right now I believe you can get Saints over 5.5 for something like plus 180, plus 200, somewhere around there. So go make some money. Just saying. Lance, I think Shough has potential, but Rat, have you turned? I thought you were a Rat guy. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. I got to drink my water to get ready for this one. This one's kind of surprising me. I think Shough has potential, but Rat, watch the first half of offensive play against the Broncos. He's wound up too tight. He plays way too fast with no rhythm, same as last year. Lance, the problem, that's part of it. Again, my biggest problem with Spencer Rattler is this. Watch him. And how many times I probably exaggerate if I say 90, so I'm going to say 80. I would say 80% of the time. Looks left, throws left. Looks right, throws right. Looks in the middle, throws in the middle. He tells you where he's going to throw the ball. That is the biggest problem I have with Spencer Rattler. Very rarely does he look one way and then throw the other. That's the problem I have with Spencer Rattler more than anything. If he could get past that, if he could find a way, well, his pocket presence is up there as 1B because he has none. That's also obviously a big problem for any potential NFL quarterback. But man, you can't just telegraph where you're going to throw the ball. I mean, you're just going to get killed. I don't know. Let's see. Chad says he is positive, meaning James. He figured we'd have the number 1 pick. I don't think it's going to be. Saints are not going to have the number 1 pick. I don't think they're going to be that bad. I think they'll be bad. I think they'll be drafted in the top 5-ish. But I don't think they're going to be number 1. Lance wants to know, says we trade up for Arch. Arch is not coming out, man. Stop. He's not coming out. Not coming out. I did not know this, Kyle Sherman, but Guido Merkins was from Penn State. If y'all don't remember Guido Merkins, well, first of all, if you do remember Guido Merkins, you're old as dirt like me. Guido was kind of like the poor man's Taysom Hill back in the day. He was a lot smaller than Taysom Hill. He was nowhere near as powerful, but he was a wide receiver that also played quarterback. I think he actually started for the Saints at quarterback more than once. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But he played wide receiver, did a lot of things with it. Also was a punt returner. Guido, the kosher cannon. That's pretty good. The kosher cannon? Guido doesn't sound Jewish to me. Am I wrong? I don't know. Anyway, Frederick agrees with me. He says the only thing he's expecting this year is to see progress. That's really what you want to see, right? That's what you really want to see. UBN wants to know, can the audience pick the jersey? Not a 49ers fan. Gabe doesn't really care. He's not going to keep it. Northern Saint says the quarterback play depends entirely on the play of an offensive line, and we have 2 excellent tackles, a very good center, and 2 projected competent guards. You are way more high right now on the O-line. First of all, if you want to use the word excellent, there's only one excellent on that offensive line, and it's actually the center. The center is excellent. Eric McCoy is excellent. Can he stay healthy? We'll see. I think it's way too early to call either tackle excellent. I love the pick in Kelvin Banks. And, I hope Fuaga takes the next step, but you can't call him excellent, either one of them. And competent guards, I mean, first of all, we don't even know who's playing left guard right now. Is Penning going to be healthy? I don't know. Is he competent? I don't know the answer to that yet either. Dylan Raines has looked terrible in the preseason. And then, Cesar Ruiz, y'all know I've never been a Cesar Ruiz fan. Just saying. Chad Gage says it's not 0.0 for 10 wins, but it's 0. Let's see if I can get all these zeros in here. 0.000000001. Gabe, could you go with that for chances? Nope. No, he's still saying 0.0. He won't even give you all the extra zeros and then the 1. By the way, Frederick says if you do have to buy a jersey and give it to one of the members of the Dat family, hope you washes it first. Thumbs up. He's going to wash it. Glenn Laurie says, I say put Shough in there and let him get the reps. That's what I say too. Do we think that's going to happen? Rocky Oob wants to know if the troll is Coach Z from Lutcher. I know multiple Coach Z's. That Coach Z might be from, all we know, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Would you be surprised if there's a troll in the Atlanta area? They don't have anything better to do. At least this city's won a Super Bowl. The one thing the Saints have never done. The Saints have never blown a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. Just saying. Never happened. All right, we got to start getting ready to close out. Corey Terrio says that the Saints have the number 1 overall pick next year. He guarantees that Arch. See, I think it's almost the opposite. I think if the Saints have the number 1 overall pick, I can almost guarantee you that he ain't coming out. They don't want Arch to be a Saint. I'm telling you right now. Why would he pass up the opportunity to play with the same team as his grandfather? Because they don't want anything to do with this team. That's my guess. I don't know that. I don't know any more than anybody else. Saying. By the way, did y'all notice that Cubs are on a winning streak? Yeah. All right, about 2 more minutes left in the show. Quo Vadis, is Taysom Hill going to be a significant contributor to the Saints offense this season? What's my guess? I got to be a realist, Quo. No. 35 years old, coming off 2 major knee injuries in one play. I hope I'm wrong because I don't want to see Taysom Hill's career. Taysom Hill should be able to go out on his own terms. I do think this is probably his last season, even if he plays. But it's hard to come back from that for anybody, much less a 35-year-old. Did you see what happened? You saw Cam Akers got cut today, by the way. Why did Cam Akers get cut? Because he's had major injuries that he couldn't overcome, right? I just don't. You can't overcome that. Let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to see if anybody else got cut that I missed. Did I miss anything? Let's see if Luke has updated his cuts. I don't think that. I think they're done for a little bit. Nope, he is not. So we listed the 14 players early. I'll tell them to you one more time. According to Luke Johnson, running back Cam Akers, punter James Burnip, Wide receivers, Roderick Daniels and Moochie Dixon. Defensive end, Jasheen Davis, Jeremiah Martin, and Amari Thomas. Offensive tackles, Josiah Iziram, Jonathan Mendoza. Tight end, Seth Green. Tight end, Michael Jacobson. Guard, Kyle Hergel. Mike Panasic, I think that's how you pronounce it, and linebacker, Tyreem Powell. Those are the cuts as of right now. Isaiah Foskey, as of this moment, is still a member of the New Orleans Saints. How much longer will that last? We do not know. As I sign off this morning and this afternoon now, who the quarterback one is. I suspect completely that we will know by the next time we come on the air, which is Wednesday, by the way, August 27th, 11 a.m. Central Time. The last show while I am still this current age. I'm not ready to tell you what my age is yet. Some of you know already. It's not hard to find. Chad Gage says, great show. He's got to run. We'll see you Wednesday. Thank you. Set the Hook says this year is going to be, have to be a very aggressive defense and a conservative run first offense. If they're going to be successful, I agree. When I say successful, I mean record wise. Rainy Cajun says, if Archie wanted Peyton or Eli to be Saints, he would have made it happen. Definitely he's going to alter course with his grandson. Probably. Rocky says the Tigers win game 1, have a legit chance to run the table. Now that is optimistic. He also says Clemson may be their toughest game. It's possible. That is their toughest game. It could be. Clemson, I think, is a legit national championship contender. 100%. Kyle, happy birthday. Well, thank you. My birthday is Friday, and we will have a show here. Birthday edition. It's Gabe and I, both our birthdays. We don't have a show on Sunday, so we're going to celebrate Gabe's birthday on Sunday. My birthday is Friday. I'm going to be 39. Gabe's going to be 29. Oh, and he's not that old yet. It sounded good. All right. That is about it. Last question of the day. Rob says, it's not a question, it's a comment. Rob says, he thinks if they get the number 1 pick, Loomis should trade it for more picks. You're 2 years away from winning record. Either way, it depends on what happens at quarterback. If you think you have your starting quarterback in Tyler Shough, because it's not Spencer Rattler. And again, these are both slim. This is a slim chance. But if Tyler Shough plays like he has potential to be a number 1 quarterback, and you're not going to draft a number 1 quarterback, then we're getting way ahead of ourselves. But yeah, then you should do that. But if the Saints need a quarterback, you can't trade the pick. You absolutely cannot trade the pick if you need a quarterback. All right. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Northern Saints is only 39. I age extremely well. Yeah. I don't know. Lastly, this really is last. Earl's picks. He disagrees about Arch not wanting to be a Saint. There are way worse organizations picking early to play for. Doesn't matter. The point is, whoever has the first pick, I don't think is going to change Arch. Whoever has the first pick, unless it's traded for, it's not a team going in the right direction, right? It's just not. There's a reason. If you're trading for the first pick, there's a reason. Your organization is not in good shape at that point in time. When's the last time that a team picked first and their organization was in, I want to play for them? Nobody. It doesn't happen that way. Anyway. All right. I'm gonna show this one, even though I probably shouldn't. Gabe, should I show this con or not? All right, we're gonna go out with a chuckle. We mean this completely tongue in cheek. Watch it. Darryl says if the Saints went after Deshaun Watson, it would rub him the wrong way. And with that, boys and girls, that is going to do it for us on this Monday. We like to have fun on Monday. We had fun. Then let me tell you, no matter what the Saints do this year, we're going to have fun. It's not going to be like last year when I would get soup. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 Mondays I might get super frustrated, but we know what we're going to get, right? We're either going to be like pleasantly surprised or we're going to just talk about it and have fun. That's what we're going to do all season long. You should come back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but especially on Monday. It's Monday. It's me. It's you. It's Gabe. That's it. Me talking to you. We're going to have fun. That's what it's about. And we're going to have, again, win, lose, draw, whatever. That's what we're going to have. By God, this show's going to be fun, whether we want to have fun or not. I'm going to have fun. You're going to have fun. We're all going to have so much blanking fun. Going to be whistling Dixie. You know what I mean. Chevy Chase said something along those lines. I steal lines. I do it all the time. I steal movie lines. I steal songs. All right, got to go. See you later. It's Monday. I want to thank today's guest. You were our guest. You're not just our guest, you're our family. Just like Gabe Henderson, who was also our quote-unquote guest today. We hope you can join us next on Wednesday. I have no idea, as I said, who our guest will be. I will work on that shortly. A reminder to subscribe, as you see if you're watching. Subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Give us a like, a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live, which is, again, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Wednesday, we'll have a guest. Friday, Zach's here. We're going to make our picks. And don't forget to watch our shorts. This afternoon, we will be previewing the Houston Texans, giving you our prediction on their over-under win total. Then tomorrow morning, we start the NFC South with the Atlanta Falcons. Take that, Coach Z. You Falcons fan, you. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And also find a replay of the show always on NOLA.com/sports. You can find me on bet.nola.com. You can find the Saints Insiders on NOLA.com/Saints. And you can find Gabe Henderson on Sportsbook. That's Sportsbook with an S. SportsbookReview.com. And you can find us on Wednesday. That's when we'll see you next. Everyone, take it easy, my friends.